Hello, everybody, and welcome back to What's the Word? Today is Monday, October 12th, 2020, and the word comes from Genesis chapter 12, verse 1, which reads, "Now the Lord said to Abram, Go away from your country and from your relatives and from your father's house to a land which I will show you." Now, I'm not going to take credit for this word. I got this watching church yesterday. Watching Relentless Church, pastored by John Gray, who's on sabbatical right now, so it wasn't him preaching, but another pastor. But it was a really good word, and I think a lot of you should hear it. A lot of times people want to stay right where they're comfortable, where they know people, but sometimes in order to grow, you need to move away from the things you know, go into a new place, and you'll be shown new things. Kicking off today's scoreboard watching with the Washington football team, who fell to the Los Angeles Rams 30-10. As most of you know, the storyline heading into the week centered around Dwayne Haskins, who was benched in favor of Kyle Allen. Not only was he benched, but he was relegated to third on the depth chart behind Alex Smith. Dwayne Haskins missed the game. Unfortunately, he called out due to sickness. The jokes there write themselves. If you were benched in favor of somebody else and not only benched, but made inactive, you'd probably be sick too. But as for the game itself, Kyle Allen started and pretty much showed us all that Dwayne Haskins wasn't the only problem. Many of us knew that to begin with, but, the coaching staff got the clarity they needed probably. Kyle Allen, however, did get injured in the game, leaving in the first half with an arm injury, making way for Alex Smith to make his return. His first game action since November 18th, 2018, when he suffered that devastating compound fracture of his right leg. Alex Smith also didn't look too good. Can't really blame the guy. The offensive line struggled, facing one of the best defensive fronts in the league, Michael Brockers, Aaron Donald. So it wasn't the best situation for Alex Smith to be thrown into in his first game back, but he held up. He took some pretty good hits. One thing I didn't like was Aaron Donald jumping on his back. I thought it should have been flagged, but apparently it's a legal play. I feel like with any other quarterback, especially like Tom Brady, a play like that would have been called, but no such luck for Alex Smith. The offense, like I said, struggled. The team only accounted for 149 total yards of offense, only 38 yards running the ball. So they got away from running the ball, which I believe they should have gone to more considering the rainy conditions, but they did not. And defensively, they played horrendously as well. They didn't know where their zones began and ended. On one touchdown pass by Jared Goff, Kendall Fuller left his man, and Landon Collins took a really bad angle on the ball in the air. So the defense didn't look good, and that's definitely a far cry from week one of the season, where the defense looked like probably one of the top three in the league. And then the following 3 weeks, they've struggled, and this week they looked terrible. Absolutely terrible. They gave up 309 yards of passing to Jared Goff and allowed the Rams running game to account for 129 yards. Next up for them is a match with the New York Giants, who are still winless, so maybe things turn around. For the quarterback situation, Alex Smith, while he did finish the game out, Kyle Allen, I said, got hurt, but he was cleared to play, didn't return. Coach Ron Rivera said that Kyle Allen will be the starter considering he is healthy. I kind of understand why he didn't put him back in there. I saw a lot of people on social media clamoring, put Kyle Allen back in there. They were scared for Alex, which I understand, but the hit that Kyle Allen took and got injured on was pretty significant, and I think although he was cleared to play, I think it was the right decision by coach. People have been really berating Ron Rivera lately, but I think I think everything that he's doing will show its fruit in time. Next up were the Baltimore Ravens, who defeated the Cincinnati Bengals 27-3. In this game, it was all about the defense. Offensively, Lamar Jackson missed 2 practices during the week, one for a knee injury, the other for sickness. And to be honest, Lamar didn't look too healthy. Maybe it was the knee, maybe it was getting over his the sickness he had, but he only threw for 180 yards. He threw for 2 touchdowns, but he also threw an interception. Possibly more had he not been playing the Bengals, who had a few errant passes hit them right in their pads, but they dropped those. Lamar only ran for 3 yards, which is his lowest output since a collegiate game in 2015. As I mentioned, the Ravens defense took exception in this game. They intercepted Joe Burrow, sacked him 7 times, and forced a fumble against him. Rookie linebacker Patrick Queen, who is looking like the defensive rookie of the year right now, had a strip sack and a recovery of that same fumble, and on another fumble recovery, took it to the house for a touchdown. Cornerback Marcus Peters also had a strip sack and an interception. Next up for the Ravens is a matchup against the Philadelphia Eagles. In other local action yesterday, D.C. United fell to the Chicago Fire 2-1. This was United's first game without Ben Olsen since 1997, spending 11 years as a player and 10 as a coach. 10 as a head coach. He spent another year as an assistant coach. But this was the first game without Ben Olsen, who held the longest tenure in club history as a head coach. It also ends the longest current tenure by any head coach in Major League Soccer. As for Olsen, he'll likely receive another role within the organization, but he is out as the head coach, as I mentioned. Assistant coach Chad Ashton took over in the interim, and same result. DC United lost their 5th consecutive game. They only have 2 wins on the season, 5 draws, and now 10 losses. They didn't look too good. They conceded 2 first-half goals, both on set plays, one off a free kick, the other off a corner kick. They did get a goal back in the second half, but that was a Chicago own goal. Again, no real offense for DC United. They looked better towards the end of the game as they were pressing for that equalizer, but they did not convert. Now for a little bit of news on teams enjoying their off seasons. And for the Washington Capitals, it has been a busy start. They re-signed defenseman Brendan Dillon to a 4-year, $16 million contract. Then in an NHL draft, they traded their 24th overall pick as well as a 3rd-round pick to the Calgary Flames in order to draft center Hendrix Lapierre with the number 22 overall pick. It's believed that Hendrix Lapierre was a steal at 22. He was considered a top 10 pick, but some concussion issues as well as CCTI, which is a pretty harmful diagnosis for a neck injury, made him fall to 22. Hopefully the Caps get a steal out of that pick, as plenty of people suspect. In free agency, they signed goaltender Henrik Lundqvist to a 1-year, $1.5 million contract. So the King is coming to DC. That did, however, signal an end to Braden Holtby's time in DC. He signed with the Vancouver Canucks, and of course, he will be remembered for winning a Vezina Trophy as the top goaltender, winning the Stanley Cup, and of course, that beautiful save. More news as the Caps also signed a few defensemen, signing Justin Schultz to a 2-year, $8 million contract coming over from the Pittsburgh Penguins. He is a right defenseman, so he'll likely be placed on the 2nd or 3rd pairing. More defensemen as they signed Trevor Van Riemsdyk to a 1-year, $800,000 contract, and defenseman Paul Ledoux to a 1-year, $700,000 contract. The Caps were expected to re-sign their own restricted free agent defenseman Jonas Siegenthaler, but now, as they've signed 3 defensemen and are pressed up against the salary cap, it looks like they will be making a trade of some sorts, so stay tuned for that. As for a team that's probably not enjoying their offseason because they still could be playing, the Washington Nationals will be moving forward in 2021 without their top assistants. Bench coach Chip Hale, pitching coach Paul Minhart, and hitting coach Kevin Long all moving forward from the organization. Manager Davey Martinez, just signing that 3-year contract, finally gets a chance to hire his own staff. He inherited the previous staff. It was handed to him when he was hired as a rookie manager in 2018. So in Davey, we trust. I liked these guys. I had an opportunity speaking with them on a few occasions, and, we won the World Series in 2019, but it's all things must come to an end, and hopefully that sparks anew. It is time to crown the king. The Los Angeles Lakers defeated the Miami Heat 106-93 to clinch their 17th championship in franchise history, honoring Kobe in the best way possible, winning their first championship since 2010, obviously anchored by Kobe and Paul Gasol. I predicted that the series would go 5 or 6, and they got it done in 6. My papa was a big Lakers fan, so I'm sure he's rejoicing over this one. As for the storylines, LeBron wins his 4th championship and 4th Finals MVP. Rajon Rondo becomes the first player in NBA history to win a championship with the Boston Celtics and the Los Angeles Lakers. And a few former Wizards get a ring. JaVale McGee getting another one, and Dwight Howard and Jared Dudley picking up their first. So, congratulations to Anthony Davis, LeBron James, and the Los Angeles Lakers. Thank you, everybody, for tuning in to another edition of What's the Word. God bless.